32 franchises, over 100 years of football, thousands of seasons played, thousands of teams forgotten. But every franchise has that one year, the year where everything clicked, where they didn't just win, they dominated, destroyed opponents by 30 points, made playoff teams look like high schoolers. Some went undefeated and wrote history books. Some had defenses so suffocating that Hall of Fame quarterbacks couldn't score. Some had offenses that averaged 35 points per game and made it look routine. Some overcame tragedy to reach glory. Some fell 1 yard short of immortality. Some are still waiting for their moment 60 years later. Today, we're breaking down every NFL team's most dominant season ever. The records that still stand, the players who became legends, the championships won and lost, the heartbreak that defined franchises, the moments that changed the game forever. From the Cardinals' 75 years of suffering to the Dolphins' perfect season, from the Bears' legendary defense to the Patriots' 18-0 run that almost was 16 minutes, 32 teams, one legendary season each. Let's go. Arizona Cardinals, 2008, 9-7 regular season, lowest win total on this list. But this franchise hasn't won a championship since 1947. Kurt Warner threw for 4,583 yards. Larry Fitzgerald exploded in the playoffs with 546 yards in 4 games. They beat the Falcons, Panthers, and Eagles, made the Super Bowl, played the Steelers. Fitzgerald had 2 touchdowns. They led late. Then Santonio Holmes' toe-tap catch happened. Steelers won 27-23. For a franchise this cursed, just getting there was dominance. Atlanta Falcons, 1998, 14-0, the Dirty Bird season. Jamal Anderson rushed for 1,846 yards and 14 touchdowns. The Dirty Bird dance became iconic. Chris Chandler at quarterback, plus 183-point differential. They destroyed the 49ers, beat the 15-1 Vikings in overtime in the NFC Championship, then lost to Elway's Broncos 34-19 in the Super Bowl. Before 28-3, this was the peak. Best offense Atlanta ever had. Baltimore Ravens, 2000. 12-4. The defense tells the story. 165 points allowed all season, 10.3 per game, 4 shutouts. In 16 games, they gave up more than 20 points exactly once. Ray Lewis won Defensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP. Rod Woodson, Tony Siragusa, Sam Adams, Jamie Sharper. They held opponents to 970 rushing yards total. Trent Dilfer threw 12 touchdowns all year. Didn't matter. Beat the Giants 34-7 in the Super Bowl, held them to 152 total yards. Greatest defense of the 2000s. When people say defense wins championships, they mean this team. Buffalo Bills, 1990, 13-3. The K-Gun no-huddle offense. Revolutionary. Jim Kelly running it to perfection. Thurman Thomas with 1,297 yards and 11 touchdowns. Andre Reed, Bruce Smith with 1,000 sacks. They averaged 26.8 points per game. Crushed the Raiders 51-3 in the AFC Championship. Then lost the Super Bowl 20-19 on Scott Norwood's wide right kick. The curse began. But 1990 was Buffalo's peak. The offense was unstoppable. They just couldn't finish. Carolina Panthers, 2015, 15-25 total touchdowns, plus 192-point differential. Defense was elite. Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Josh Norman started 14-0. Crushed the Cardinals 49-15 in the NFC Championship. Then lost to Denver's defense in the Super Bowl. Von Miller with 2 forced fumbles. But that regular season was pure dominance. They just ran into the one defense that could stop them. Chicago Bears, 5, 15-1. The greatest defense ever. The 46 defense. Buddy Ryan's masterpiece. Mike Singletary. Richard Dent with 17 sacks. They allowed 12.4 points per game, plus 258-point differential. Walter Payton with 15,551 yards. Jim McMahon at quarterback. The fridge scoring touchdowns. The Super Bowl shuffle. They destroyed the Giants 21-0. Crushed the Rams 24-0. Obliterated the Patriots 46-10 in the Super Bowl. 39 years later, they're still the standard. When you say dominant defense, you mean this team. Cincinnati Bengals, 1988, 12-4. Boomer Esiason MVP, 3,072 yards and 28 touchdowns. The no-huddle offense. Ickey Woods and the Ickey Shuffle. They beat the Bills in the AFC Championship, lost to Montana's 49ers 20-16 in the Super Bowl. Montana to John Taylor with 34 seconds left. Heartbreak. But 1988 was the best Bengals team ever. They ran into a dynasty. Cleveland Browns. 1964, 10-3-1. Jim Brown in his prime. 1,446 yards, 17 touchdowns. They won the NFL championship. Crushed the Colts 27-0. This was before the Super Bowl. The last time Cleveland won anything, 60 years ago. Art Modell moved the team in 1995, but in 1964 they were champions. Legendary. Dallas Cowboys. 1992, 13-3. The triplets era began. Troy Aikman threw for 445 yards and 23 touchdowns. Emmitt Smith won the rushing title with 1,113 yards and 18 touchdowns. Michael Irvin had 1,396 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. The offensive line was legendary. Eric Williams, Larry Allen, Nate Newton, Mark Stepnoski, Mark Tuini, the Great Wall of Dallas. The defense had Charles Haley, Ken Norton Jr., Jimmy Johnson coaching with swagger, plus 188-point differential. They crushed the 49ers 30-20 in the NFC Championship to announce their arrival, then obliterated Buffalo 52-17 in the Super Bowl. Start of the 90s dynasty. This was the peak. Pure power. Denver Broncos, 1998, 14-2. John Elway's final season. Terrell Davis with 2,008 yards and 21 touchdowns plus 233-point differential. They destroyed the Falcons 34-19 in the Super Bowl. Elway got his first ring in 1907, and 98 was the complete package. Back-to-back champions. Then Elway retired on top. Perfect ending. Detroit Lions, 191, 12-4. Barry Sanders with 1,148 yards and 16 touchdowns. They won a playoff game. Beat the Cowboys 38-6. That's the bar for Detroit. One playoff win since 1957. Lost to Washington 41-10 in the next round. But for Detroit, that's dominance. It's been that bad. Barry deserved better. Green Bay Packers, 1996, 13-3. Brett Favre, MVP, 3,899 yards and 39 touchdowns. Reggie White with 8.5 sacks at age 35. Defense was nasty. They crushed the Patriots 35-21 in the Super Bowl. Desmond Howard returned a kickoff 99 yards for a touchdown. First championship in 29 years. The return to glory. Lambeau mattered again. Houston Texans, 2012. J.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year, 20.5 sacks. Arian Foster with 1 farven, 24 yards. Matt Schaub threw for 4,008 yards. Andre Johnson with 1,598 yards. Won the division. Lost to the Patriots in the divisional round. This is as good as it's gotten in Houston. Young franchise. 2012 was the peak. Indianapolis Colts, 2005, 14-2, 3,747 yards. 28 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne both over 1,000 yards. Edgerrin James with 1,506 yards. Averaged 27.4 points per game. Started 13-0. Lost to the Steelers in the playoffs. The 1906 team won the Super Bowl, but 2005 was the most dominant regular season. Jacksonville Jaguars, 2080, 14-2. Mark Brunell. Fred Taylor with 1,399 yards. Jimmy Smith with 1,1636 yards, plus 163-point differential. They beat the Dolphins 62-7 in the divisional round, lost to the Titans 33-14 in the AFC Championship. That 99 team was complete. Explosive offense, dominant defense. Kansas City Chiefs, 2019, 12-4. Patrick Mahomes, 4,031 yards. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. They beat the Texans after being down 24-0. Beat the Titans, then came back from 20-10 down against the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Won 31-20. 3 touchdowns in 7 minutes. The start of the Mahomes dynasty. This was the breakthrough. Las Vegas Raiders. 1976, 13-1. Ken Stabler MVP. Cliff Branch with 111 yards. That defense, Willie Brown, Jack Tatum, Ted Hendricks. They went 16-1, including playoffs. Beat the Vikings 32-14 in the Super Bowl. Peak of the Raiders dynasty. John Madden coaching. Silver and black at its best. Los Angeles Chargers, 2006. 14-2. LaDainian Tomlinson, MVP. 28 rushing touchdowns. 31 total touchdowns. Plus 234-point differential. Best offense in football. Then Marlon McCree fumbled an interception against the Patriots. Lost in the divisional round. Dominant team. Playoff heartbreak. That's the Chargers story. Los Angeles Rams, 1999. 13-3. The greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner came from nowhere. Grocery store bagger to league MVP. Nobody saw it coming. 43-53 passing yards. 41 touchdown passes. Marshall Faulk with 1,381 rushing yards and 1,048 receiving yards. 2,029 yards from scrimmage. Isaac Bruce with 1,165 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. Torrey Holt with 788 yards as a rookie. As Zahir Hakim, this offense averaged 32.9 points per game. Mike Martz as offensive coordinator. Dick Vermeil as head coach. They beat the Vikings 49-37 in the divisional round in a shootout. Beat the Titans 23-16 in the Super Bowl. Kevin Dyson tackled 1 yard short on the final play. Mike Jones made the tackle. This offense changed football forever. Speed, timing, execution. This was the blueprint for modern passing attacks. Miami Dolphins, 1972. 17 Frit season. The only one in NFL history. 14 Frit win the regular season. 3 Frit win the playoffs. Perfect. Bob Grease at quarterback. Larry Sanconcha with 1,117 rushing yards. Mercury Morris with 1,000 yards. The first team in NFL history to have 2 1,000-yard rushers. Paul Warfield at receiver. The no-name defense. Dick Anderson with 8 interceptions. Jake Scott, Nick Buonaconti, Manny Fernandez, Bill Stanfill, Don Shula coaching. They beat the Steelers 21-17 in the AFC Championship in Pittsburgh, beat Washington 14-7 in Super Bowl VII. 52 years later, this is still the only perfect season. The 2007 Patriots went 16-0 in the regular season and lost the Super Bowl. The 1985 Bears went 15-1, but only the 1972 Dolphins finished perfect. Every year, when the last undefeated team loses, they pop champagne. This is history. This is perfection. This is immortality. Minnesota Vikings. 1998, 15-1. The highest scoring offense in NFL history at the time. 55 points scored. Randy Moss rookie season. 1,313 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns. Revolutionized the deep ball. Chris Carter with 1,011 yards and 12 touchdowns. Randall Cunningham came out of retirement, threw for 3,704 yards and 34 touchdowns. Robert Smith with 1,187 rushing yards. This offense averaged 34.8 points per game, plus 296-point differential. They destroyed everyone. Blew teams out by 30-40 points. Only loss was to the Bucs in Week 9. They were 15-1. Number 1 seed, home field advantage, then played the Falcons in the NFC Championship at home, led early. Then Gary Anderson missed a field goal, his first miss all season after 35 straight made field goals. Falcons came back, won 30-27 in overtime. Heartbreak. Vikings gonna Viking. But that 1998 offensive performance was the most explosive season Minnesota ever had. New England Patriots, 2007, 16-var. The only perfect 16-game regular season, Tom Brady with 50 touchdowns, Randy Moss with 23 touchdown receptions, both NFL records, plus 315-point differential, averaged 36.8 points per game, went 18-var, then David Tyree, helmet catch. Giants won 17-14, one game from perfection, but that regular season was the most dominant offensive performance in NFL history. New Orleans Saints, 2009, 13-3. Drew Brees, 4,388 yards. Years after Katrina devastated the city, this was the culmination of New Orleans' comeback. More than football, a city's redemption. Beat the Vikings in overtime in the NFC Championship. Brett Favre interception. Beat the Colts 31-17 in the Super Bowl. The onside kick to start the second half. Tracy Porter pick 6. The city erupted. Healing. Championship. New York Giants, 14-20. Lawrence Taylor MVP. Only defensive player to win MVP in 40 years, 20.5 sacks. Harry Carson. Carl Banks, plus 181-point differential. Phil Simms. Joe Morris with 1,1516 yards. Beat the 49ers 49-3 in the divisional round. Crushed the Broncos 39-20 in the Super Bowl. Simms went 22 of 25, but this was LT's team. Most dominant defensive player ever. New York Jets, 1968. 11-3. Joe Namath. The guarantee. We're gonna win. Super Bowl III. 18-point underdogs to the Colts. Jets won 16-7. The AFL proved it belonged. 56 years later, this is still their peak. One Super Bowl, one guarantee, one legendary moment. Philadelphia Eagles, 2017, 13-3. Carson Wentz MVP candidate until his ACL tear. Nick Foles took over. Defense carried. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Malcolm Jenkins destroyed the Vikings 38-7 in the NFC Championship, beat the Patriots 41-33 in the Super Bowl. The Philly Special, Foles caught and threw touchdowns, beat Brady and Belichick. That's as good as it gets. Pittsburgh Steelers, 1978, 14-2. The Steel Curtain, Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris with 1,082 yards, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth beat the Cowboys 35-31 in the Super Bowl. Peak of the dynasty. 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, but 1978 was the best. This is Steelers football. San Francisco 49ers, 14-2. Joe Montana, at his peak, 3,521 yards, 26 touchdowns. Jerry Rice with 1,483 yards and 17 touchdowns. Roger Craig, plus 258-point differential. Bill Walsh's final season. They destroyed the Broncos 55-10 in the Super Bowl. Most dominant playoff run ever. 3 games, won by a combined 100 points. Greatest team of the 1980s. Seattle Seahawks, 2013, 13-3. The Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor. Defense allowed 14.4 points per game. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch with 1,1257 yards. Beat the Broncos 43-8 in the Super Bowl. Greatest offense versus the Legion of Boom. Defense won. This defense was so dominant, offense didn't matter. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2002. The Bucs defense, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, Rondé Barber, John Gruden, destroyed the Raiders 48-21 in the Super Bowl. 5 interceptions. Gruden knew their offense. Derek Brooks and Dwight Smith both returned interceptions for touchdowns. The 2020 Brady team won too, but 2002 was different. That defense was legendary. Tennessee Titans, 1999, 13-3. Music City Miracle, Steve McNair, Eddie George with 1,204 yards. Jevon Kearse, Rookie of the Year with 14.5 sacks. Beat the Bills on the lateral. Beat the Jaguars in the AFC Championship. Lost to the Rams 23-16 in the Super Bowl. Kevin Dyson tackled 1 yard short. 1 yard from a championship. Best team in Tennessee history. Washington Commanders, 1991, 14-2. The Hogs offensive line, Russ Grimm, Joe Jacoby, Mark Ripien threw for 3,564 yards and 28 touchdowns. Art Monk, Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders, plus 261-point differential, destroyed the Lions 41-10 in the NFC Championship, beat the Bills 37-24 in the Super Bowl. Joe Gibbs at his peak, 3 Super Bowls in 10 years, but 1991 was the most complete. 32 teams, 100 years of history, thousands of seasons played and forgotten. But these were the peaks, the seasons where everything aligned, where talent met coaching, met opportunity. The 72 Dolphins went 17-5 because perfect. Still the only one. The 85 Bears had the greatest defense ever assembled. Buddy Ryan's 46 defense. The 2000 Ravens suffocated everyone. 10.3 points allowed per game. The 2007 Patriots scored at will and went 18-5 before falling 1 game short. Tom Brady and Randy Moss. The 2009 Saints brought a championship to New Orleans years after Katrina's devastation. The 2019 Chiefs started the Patrick Mahomes dynasty that's still going. Some teams won championships and wrote their names in history forever. Some fell heartbreakingly short. 1 yard short like the Titans, 1 field goal short like the Vikings, 1 helmet catch short like the Patriots. But for one season, for 16 or 17 weeks, each of these 32 teams was unstoppable. They set the standard for their franchise. They showed what dominance looks like. They proved that greatness is possible. This is NFL history. These are the moments that defined franchises and inspired generations. If you want more NFL history breakdowns like this, subscribe. More coming soon.